should, hang on a sec, on air.
All right. Should I start, like...
Yeah.
Yeah, all right.
They saw you yawn, because when I said you were
Oh,
on air.
no. I'm so horrified that I did a normal human body function. Anyway. Hello, everybody. My name is James Pino, and today we are going to be doing our second podcast on my recent trip to Costa Rica. Now, originally, we were just going to cover day 2 in general, but after some new figure acquisitions and some thought and looking at what I had, I'm actually going to split day 2 into 2 different days. Yeah, so you're actually getting, well, not the podcast, not days. Day 2 was 1 day. I don't know what I'm talking about. Anyway, so yes. So we're actually going to be talking about the river tour, as seen in this title, today, because this was a very exciting river tour, and especially the end. Definitely stick around to the end, because I have something very cool to show you. But we also, then next week, hopefully next week, we will be covering the general things I saw on day 2 as well, including the waterfall with a cool animal at it that's shown in this second image here. This first image is from the river tour. There are some really big, cool trees there. So, yeah.
Zero Sugar Canyon if they would like to sponsor us.
But it's not sponsored.
It's very tasty.
But
it's not sponsored. But it's very tasty.
Okay.
And in the wrong box if you watch my LinkedIn post.
Oh, God, here we go. Okay. So, anyway. So, this river tour took place in Los Chiles. This place is 1.86 miles from the Nicaraguan border, so very north of Costa Rica. This area is a lowland area with water flowing from the Arenal area that we talked about last time, and we'll talk more about in the next few podcasts. And then it goes down through rivers and stuff into the huge lake Coquibolcla, I probably butchered that, in Nicaragua, which is a very large lake. If you look it up you'll see it if you look up, like, Nicaragua on Google Maps.
That word.
Yeah. Anyway. But we specifically took a river tour inside the Cano Negro Wildlife Refuge, which specifically on the Rio Frio, the Cold River. Yes, so that's the main river that goes through that area. Anyway, the river tour specifically was a boat tour that went up and down the river with a very nice guide on it. And these boats are very regulated because they want to make sure all the animals are safe and stuff and the nature is protected. So with that, things such as fruit cannot be on them because the capuchin monkeys love to commit riverway robbery.
So it's not even that you can have fruit, but you have to have it in a container or something. No fruit, no risk of random fruit.
Because the monkeys will steal it somehow.
Monkeys will steal the fruit.
We unfortunately,
proves I'm
as I'm spreading animals out over the podcast, we won't talk about the capuchin monkeys today. But trust me, I will come back to the river tour when we do talk about them because
there is a capuchin monkey situation.
Yes. And there's even funnier stuff that happened on day 6. So, yeah. But anyway, this river tour is awesome. I saw 28 species of birds on this tour, most of which were new. I think, like...
And this was only, like, a 2-hour tour.
What?
Any Gilligan's Island fans out there?
Okay, yeah. I'm too young for that. We also saw 4 species of reptile and 2 species of monkey. So that was cool. But with birds specifically, apparently the tour guide actually complimented me on my bird ID.
Nice.
Yeah. And then she told because we had a guide for the day, but she told, like, our main guide, and then he complimented me too. So that was cool.
Nice.
Not to brag, but that was cool.
It does. So what I'm hearing is that the crew you go with, the group you go with, and the tour guide make a huge difference.
Yeah.
So maybe we should put at some point in one of your posts, like, the tour company you guys used and places you stayed and whatnot, because that's obviously a huge. If you're not getting along with your tour company, tour guide, or enjoying the places you stay, that can have a huge.
Yeah, I can definitely think that might have affected the Galapagos a little bit.
Yeah,
not horribly, but.
Right? But I mean, it's going to make a difference.
Yeah. Anyway, so. But obviously, I just said we covered 36 species, 34 species of animal in this river tour. We're covering 5 today, and I'm hopefully going to do a LinkedIn post in the next few days that covers like 3 more.
So a couple of things. First of all, in the description below, LinkedIn, follow him. That's where you'll get notified. If you're watching this on YouTube, you're watching the video version. Or if you're watching it on LinkedIn or anything like that, if you're listening to it on a podcast service, Apple, Google, Amazon, Spotify, Buzzsprout, any of those, sometimes we mention we've got books or we've got animals or we've got anything. You can't always jump over to the YouTube version to see.
Yeah.
But I was thinking we should keep that in mind, that some people may be listening to this on audio only.
Okay.
So just we'll try and be conscious of that. So
yeah. Okay. And then so we'll be covering that. I think one of the animals I'll cover in that LinkedIn post is the bird pictured here, the neotropic cormorant, because my grandma really likes cormorants. She calls them kumquats. So, because she gets double-crested cormorants outside her house a lot because she has a pond outside her house. So, because
double-breasted suits are way more
crested
looking.
Crested.
I know, but people wear double-breasted suits because it's like a double-crested. We're very like fancy birds.
Okay.
Double-breasted suits.
So yeah. But hopefully I'll get to cover more animals at some point, some of these other animals in the future at some point, because there's just so many cool ones. I had to pick some. And the first one we're picking is the green iguana.
Ooh, green iguana.
Now, this is interesting because a lot of you might be familiar with this species because it's invasive in Florida. Yes, it is invasive in Florida and certain parts of the Caribbean, where it is a nuisance because they're everywhere and they don't belong and they damage the ecosystem. But what was really cool about this trip was that since I was in Costa Rica, and so Central America, they're actually native there. So I got to enjoy them without thinking about those repercussions. So anyway, this is we have a plush here, and it's on the PowerPoint slide.
And this is not life size. They're much longer than this, aren't they? Or is this
it's rough.
A little bit longer?
Yeah,
this could be a young one.
I feel like it's more plushy too, so it's not exact. It's a little.
I'm just talking scale.
Yeah,
size. Yeah,
it could be around. So they can get 3'9" to 5'6". So yeah.
Oh yeah, so they can. Yeah.
But a lot of that's the tail. With lizards, a lot of it tends to be the tail.
Yeah.
And they can weigh 2.6 to 6.6 pounds in the females.
He does not.
And then up to 8.8 pounds in the males.
Ah, buff.
Yeah, and I believe this is a male because he has a dewlap. Which is
like in a moose.
Yeah, I think
same kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh.
We'll talk about more of that in a second, but I'm trying to get that's the next slide.
Yeah.
Anyway, so obviously green iguana, scientific name iguana, one of the easy ones. Oh, sorry, iguana. No, iguana. Yeah. Class Reptilia, Order Squamata, which is lizards and snakes. Check out our taxonomic podcast.
Oh yeah, taxonomic podcast. I should
look
put a card
at that.
here.
Look at that.
I'm
great.
I'll try to remember to put a little card right here.
Great at this. Okay, and then the family is Iguanidae, which is iguanas. Diet folivore, so mainly leaves and stuff, but will also eat fruit and.
And that's what so you show him here in like a tree or something.
Yeah, they're very arboreal species.
So it makes sense to me because they eat fruit and that kind of thing. But for some reason, I always picture them like on the beach on the sand.
That's because that's where you probably encountered them. Like if you went to, I know you and Mom had a honeymoon at like Turks and Caicos or something. You probably ran into some on the beach there, if I had to guess.
Okay. But normally they're arboreal.
Yeah, so in the wild they live in rainforests. Okay. And I won't mention this on the slides if you're looking, but all these animals obviously live around rivers because we all saw them I saw them on a river tour. Mm-hmm. So for this series specifically, I'm not bothering putting the habitat we're featuring in the slide. Okay. They also live on sandy coast too. I realize there could be a lot of trees. Like the beach I went to on day 6, there's a lot of trees.
Okay.
Islands, obviously, I think they are found on some islands natively, but they're also invasive on the Costa Rica islands. And then urban and rural areas, which I haven't talked to you about this, but for my collection, I added a couple more like those like the ones that we're doing where they're not like a full habitat.
Yeah.
I added rural and a couple others. Okay. I'll explain to you why later. It's a whole thing, but that's not important for you guys, but I know I love when people start ranting about random things on podcasts, so. But yeah, so this is it. And then here's the image from, I'm not saying his name. If you see the image, you can see, I make sure to put credit for any images that aren't my own.
So the image we're using is from Wikipedia.
Yeah.
So you can, and it's an image from Hans Hillowert.
Yeah, so I always, if it's not an image, yes, because honestly, I don't know if you need to with Wikipedia, but I do it because it feels like the right thing to do. Yeah, no,
it's good. It's the right thing to do.
Anyway, so let's talk about sexual dimorphism. So this is more of a male, bigger, has the dewlap, these bigger orangey spines. And fun fact, during the mating season, which is when I was there, they actually are more orange.
Okay.
The males become more orange, and then they become more green, not during the breeding season.
Okay.
So up top, I love this image. I think I took an absolute banger of an image. Here we have two animals. On top, you can see there's a green iguana, a male green, and you can see the orange and the big dewlap if you look really close. Okay. But also, there's an anhygnia, the snake birds that we saw in Louisiana.
Yeah, we saw this in Louisiana.
Yeah, but there are a lot here too.
Yeah.
And I took this really cool image. It looks like you have to see it to really understand how cool it is, in my opinion. Yeah. But yeah, you like that image, Dad?
Yeah.
Because I'm not as good a photographer as he is. He's the photographer. So when I get a good picture, it's really cool. And then below we have a female iguana, so you can see not really a dewlap, smaller spines, more like green and black.
And are the spines on their back hard, like they'll poke something, or they're just for show? Or...
Not okay. Like if you touched it, it might prick you, but they're not defensive. I don't think they're
not
just
like porcupine quills.
No, they're more like little keratinous or something spines. I think.
Okay.
No, but yeah. So sexual dimorphism is something a lot of animals do because the males are bigger and brighter to show off to the females. And also, it signifies that they can survive while standing out. Mm. Also, there is it's a little controversial, but there's a hypothesis that, like, sick animals will look duller. So if they're brighter, it means they're not sick. They have a strong immune system. And by that, they have good genes to pass on. Because then, if the female has male offspring, the males will have those traits.
And think about that part of dimorphism. So the brighter the male, the more noticeable he is. Yeah. So the more likely he is to be noticed and challenged.
Or eaten by predators.
Or eaten by predators.
The main thing is predators.
Anything. So he stands out. He doesn't camouflage.
I mean, think about
the brighter he is, the more likely he is to be attacked or eaten. And the fact that he has lived to get that big proves that even walking around in a bright pink suit with a feathered cap, he's the dude.
Yeah. Think about Indian peafowl.
Yeah,
that's a good example. Yeah. Like that tail's not helpful for escaping.
Right? Yeah.
Anyway, next up we have. Oh wait, no, the book. We're doing books.
We got books.
Whew! I almost forgot.
We got books.
So I love this little book. Here, I got at Barnes & Noble a while back. Encyclopedia of Animals: An Illustrated Guide to Animals of the Earth. This is a great little book. Really nice artwork. Goes through a lot of different species, even some more obscure ones. The only thing I don't like about it is that for their picture of the Toko toucan, they have a Q-bill toucan. And it's really funny, because earlier in the book, they have a picture of a Toko toucan. But it's a very minor thing. But anyway, why I have this book today is to cover a couple animals, including the green iguana. So, the green iguana is shown here. And, fun fact... I learned about this. A lot of lizards have this, and the tuatars have this too. If you remember our Living Fossils air quote podcast. But the green iguana, they have this thing called a third eye or a parietal eye on the top of their head, which is more like a light sensing organ. And it's on tuatars, it kind of disappears with age. Also, tuatars aren't lizards. I just need to say that. It's here, but they're not lizards. But yeah, so the green iguana has that too. So yeah, it's so like they can detect light in dark, so like if an eagle flies over, they can tell. So yeah, that's the green iguana. Oh, sorry. There you go. There. Am I pointing to it? Yeah.
When you do this, it's just all light reflection.
Oh. Okay, can you all see it now? Yeah. There's the green iguana. All right. Now that I remembered to do that, we can move on to the next slide, which we'll be covering the wood stork. I only have a mini, but from a Safari LDT tube. Very nice little mini. Safari LDT makes, especially nowadays, makes really good little minis in their tubes. TOOB. Tubes. Yeah, but so this is the wood stork. But let's talk about the actual animal. Wood stork, scientific name, Mycteria americana. So obviously in the class Avis, it's a bird, which also check out Taxonomic Podcast to see how technically birds are reptiles, so they should be in class Reptilia, but it's a whole thing. Anyway, order Cicaniformes and family Cicanidae storks, which are different than cranes, by the way. They are different than cranes. Anyway, wood storks are quite large birds, standing 2'9" to 3'9" tall. And females can weigh 4.4 to 6.2 pounds, while males can weigh 5.5 to 7.3 pounds. So yes, they are quite large birds. And their wingspan is 4'7" to 5'11". So the wingspan is wider than either of us are tall, because we're both short. Right, Dad?
That's right.
Yeah. So yeah, mainly piscivorous, because as you can see from images on the PowerPoint, or just in general if you look it up, they are water-based birds. They live in marshes, swamps, lakes, salt marshes, mangroves, which are the main type of salt swamp, islands, urban and rural areas. And I know this for a fact, because I really didn't get a good look at them on this trip, because I saw one fly over and that was it, like really high up. But when we went to the Disney trip with the band I was in high school, it was the school band. I wasn't in like an actual band. No. Anyway, when we went to that, we stayed back, and towards the end of our trip, we went to SeaWorld, and at the sea lion habitat, there was a ton of wood storks. You can actually see one pictured here, the bottom picture, which I actually took, and is actually one of my good pictures, because apparently the wood storks, great egrets, and snowy egrets there love to hang out around the sea lion habitat and wait for showtime to try to steal some fish. And they literally have to announce, if like you're giving a fish to feed to the sea lions or something, just don't let the birds get it, because we don't want them here. And there was like, I don't have a good picture, but there was like literally like 25 birds there. And these are all like egrets and storks. They're not small birds. So yeah, that was really cool. So yeah, I think this is quite the interesting animal, the wood stork. Also, I brought the bird book so we can get a closer look at it. Where are storks? Storks. Okay, it's probably more in the front. Oh, wait. This will give me a good... The Storks. 203. Okay. Page 203. What page is this? Oh, I went a little too far ahead. Here we go. Yeah, okay. So, it is one of 4 species within its genus, but it's the only one in the Americas, as the rest in its genus are found within Africa and Asia. So, if we look here, okay, I'll get that later. Right there is the wood stork. How's it look, Dad? Dad. Father. Okay, he's not helping. He's trying to add titles and things. So, I hope you can see this. I have no clue. The camera's too small. No,
Here, let me switch over. Here, switch.
Oh,
wait. There we go.
The light's kind of hitting this one spot really weird.
The top down. There you go.
There, so that's the wood stork. Okay. You can see they live in Florida, Central America, and South America. And then these are the other species. Now, I will make a quick honorable mention. I did not see this because they're actually quite endangered and rare in that area specifically. There is another species of stork there called the jaburi, and this is a really cool. They can like inflate their neck, their throat sac. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So this is a really cool species. I didn't get to see it, so that will be hopefully if I go back there one day, I can try to spot one.
And I'm putting in the comments references to the books and all that stuff.
So this is the we've talked about this every podcast. This is All the Birds of the World from Lynx.
All the Birds of the World?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I did it wrong. Okay.
And that's the same for the mammal one, too. Okay. But yeah. So that is the wood stork. Littlewood stork. I will say this: the one thing about this figure is that its beak is orange, and their beaks aren't orange, but you could just repaint it if you want. That's the one thing with paint. I know people love to repaint figures, so just paint it. Anyway, next up is a really cool little guy we saw. Well, can be little. The one we saw was little, but they can be a little big. So this, I have a mini that's supposed to just be a random crocodilian, but I'm going to say it's a spectacled caiman. Caiman crocodilus. So despite that last scientific name, crocodilus, caimans are not crocodiles. They are more closely related to alligators. They're not quite alligators, but if you look at one, you might think it's a small alligator. Class Reptilia, order Crocodilla, again, crocodilians in general. And then family Alligatoridae, so alligators. So it's not an alligator, but it's closely related to alligators. And specifically this species, Caiman crocodilus, they're actually thinking of changing the species name from crocodilus to help clear up confusion. That's not a crocodile, but that hasn't been done yet. Anyway, so this species can get from 4'7" to 8'2". So, not huge, but it's not small either. They can weigh 15 to 88 pounds. So quite a big range of weight. I will say the one that we saw, the one that we got the best look at, we did see a number, but the one we got best look at up here at the top was a young one, probably only like 2, maybe 3 feet. So I bet he was on the lighter side. And at his age, he would probably be eating more like insects and shrimp, because the larger ones eat mammals, including the monkeys, which I'll talk a little bit more when we do cover those capuchin monkeys in the last planned podcast for the Costa Rica trip. Not the last one ever, trust me. I'm going to be doing this until I literally can't talk anymore. Also, we were there during the dry season, which is not as dry as you would think in a rainforest, but yes, it was the dry season. It actually didn't rain while we were there the whole time, which actually was quite surprising, because even though it's dry season, it's not that dry. So that was actually really lucky. And then during the dry season, they eat more fish, but during the wet season, they'll switch to more snails and crabs. And yeah, so it's actually very interesting. A lot of animals do this, so it's kind of hard to classify them as one diet, because a lot of animals will actually switch their diet depending on the season or what's available or something. And I think this is a really good example of that, because they have big, small, and then wet and dry season diets. So anyway, they can live in a lot of places. Obviously, they need water, so they live in swamps and lakes and mangroves and rivers and urban and rural areas with water. But you can even find them in rainforest, shrublands, and savanna that have the water. Kind of like, think of the Nile crocodiles that live in the savannah, but they live in the river that guts through the savannah. So something like that. And they are an apex predator in South America. Now, they can be hunted by larger caimans, including other species like the black caiman, if they overlap. Or even jaguars are very famous for the fact that they will actually bite the skulls of caimans to instantly kill them. Oh? Because they just, pierce the brain and crack the skull. Yeah.
I saw a video of it was like a pig or something, and a jaguar jumped on its back.
Yeah.
So it walked out into the river, turned its butt towards 2 caiman, and the caiman grabbed the jaguar and pulled it off the pig's butt, and the pig just walked out of the river. I don't know if that was AI or what, but
yeah, it could have been AI, but it's not impossible.
Not impossible to happen.
That's the one thing with AI. Be careful, but it's not always as oh my god, this is fake news, we're all going to die. A lot of it, for the most part, is based in some level of reality.
With animals and stuff. This kind of stuff.
Yeah, take it with a grain of salt, but you can still enjoy it. Yeah. I don't think it's a sin to enjoy it or anything.
Yep.
So yeah, spectacled caiman, I won't go into this. I have no idea where I got this figure. It's probably not even supposed to be a caiman, but it counts for my collection, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
Anyway, next up, we are covering a monkey today. Wait, no, I forgot the book again. We will cover the monkey in a second. Give me a second. We're going back to the Encyclopedia of Animals to cover the spectacled
caiman. And I put a reference for that in the comments.
I don't think we'll be here that long, but yeah, it's one of 6 species of caiman. They have a nice piece of artwork here.
There you go. Yeah, perfect.
Again, they talk about the same habitats. Flooded savannas, too, like in in South America and India, they'll have like these big kind of grassy fields, but like if you go in there, it's like water for a couple of feet. So yeah, you can see cousin alligators. They actually have slightly smaller. Well, they are slightly smaller, but also their teeth are longer and more slender, apparently. So that's another way to tell caimans apart. And also, the only two species of alligators live in southern North America, the American alligator, and then there's a very rare, very small population of alligators in China called the Chinese alligator. So if you're in South America, you're seeing a caiman. I would say in Florida you might see an invasive caiman because Florida is a mess with invasives. There's literally Nile crocodiles in there. Did you know that? There's a couple Nile crocodiles just about. Yeah.
Just wandered in.
Burmese pythons eat alligators. Green iguanas, literally during cold snaps because of climate change and stuff, they're literally falling out of trees because they're frozen. They could recover, but yeah, but so that's the spectral caiman. But anyway, on to monkey, because I know everyone loves monkeys. So this is the mantled howler monkey, is what you would probably hear it as, but this is specifically the mantled howler monkey, the one I saw, Aluata palliata. So why are they called howler monkeys? Well, they actually have a special hollow bone near their vocal cords called the hyoid bone, which amplifies their call so it can be heard for several miles. So in the rainforest, if you hear like a ooh from the distance, it's probably a howler monkey. Yeah. Or some guy that's having a real good time. I don't know. Anyway, but yeah. So that bone is so big that it's actually 25 times larger than in the similarly sized spider monkey, which I didn't see on this trip, unfortunately, but there are spider monkeys in Costa Rica as well. So yeah, so that's the howler monkey. And also, I'm not sure this figure is actually one, but we're counting it. But the actual monkey I saw, if you see the images, you can kind of see it has these long brownish hairs on its like back. And that's where it gets the name the mantled howler, because of those coloration. Class Mammalia, order Primates, obviously, and then family Alitidae, which I think is mostly New World monkeys. So New World is North and South America. Old World is literally everything else. So you can look at this Safari LDT figure if you want, because the image I got's kind of not great. You can barely see it. And then the image from Wikipedia, he's just kind of sitting there. So this is a good diagnostic look. Length 1'7" to 2'1". I believe that excludes the tail. Sometimes tails are counted, sometimes it's not. It's kind of hit or miss. Males are 1'8" to 2'3". Females weigh 7 to 17 pounds. And males weigh 10 to 22 pounds, and they eat mainly leaves, like a lot of leaves. Like they will eat fruit and stuff, but they mainly eat leaves. And obviously they live along rivers and in mangroves, but they also live in rainforests, dry forests, and even up in mountain forests. Again, arboreal species. This entire river is lined by trees. There was like no spot that was like grass. It was all trees the entire time. So lots of tree-based animals on this trip. Let's see, what was I was going to say one more thing. This is Safari LET figure again. Really nice figure. And then this image actually isn't from day 2 because they were up in the trees. They couldn't get a good photo. This is actually one we ran into on day 5 as we were driving down. So this is actually an image from the dry forest. And it was really cool because apparently they're not really common around during the dry season near roads. So the fact that we saw one, and it has a baby, you probably can't tell from the image, but it does actually have an infant with it. It actually took us a while to tell it had an infant with it, but yeah, that was really cool. But of all these animals, my favorite animal from this trip, from this river tour, was the plumed basilisk. Oh no, I forgot the book again. Oh my god. Plume basilisk. But yeah, so we'll cover the plume basilisk in a second, and trust me, you'll understand why I'm very excited for that. But let's quickly go to all the mammals of the world to quickly talk about the mantled howler, which should be in the back of the book, because that's where the primates are, right? Oh wait, no, that's carnivore, never mind. Where are the primates? Not in the mouse section. Oh, here's gibbons. Monkeys. But this is Old World monkeys. Old World monkeys. Okay, New World monkeys. Here we go. Not TD monkeys, not sakis. Oh, here we go. Howler monkeys. Mantared howler. Here we go. All right. Oh, this is the mantled howler monkey.
There you go.
You can see the mantle on it. Maybe I need to reclassify my figure as a Central American. I don't know. But yeah. So, this is the mantled howler monkey. Lives in Central and then a little bit of South America. Well, the Central American howler monkey is actually only found in, like, the Yucatan Peninsula-ish. In, like, Guatemala. So that's interesting. Anyway. Sorry, I got too excited about this lizard. The plumed basilisk. This figure's not really great. Random mini. I won't go into detail. But, obviously, plumed basilisk is a lizard. Class Reptilia, Order Squamata, family Cortiophanidae, which I believe is just a basilisk. 2 to 3 foot long. Not huge by any means. Weight 7 to 17.6 ounces. Their diet is omnivorous, so, bugs, for anything they get their mouths on. Obviously, they live in rainforests, but also around rivers and lakes. And why is that important? Well, this lizard has a nickname, the Jesus Christ lizard. Now, this lizard did not die Thursday, and it's going to come back on Sunday. That's not what... No, died today? Wait, is Good Friday the one he died on? Yeah, okay. So, this lizard did not die today, a few hundred years ago, and then come back to life on Easter. This one is known because it can run on water. I'm going to reference this book now. Do not put this in the description. This book is a piece of garbage. It portrays every single animal in it as, like, some psychopathic murderer. Like, there's literally, like, also, like, I think there's even, like, a fish that eats a dog. It's a weird book. But, despite its flaws, it does actually have a good picture of how this lizard runs on water. So, I will be using that. And then we will never look at this book again, because this book sucks.
And do you have the video of the Jesus lizard?
You just spoiled the ending.
Oh. But I have the audio turned on.
Okay. Oh my god. Let this guy. Maybe I do need to do this by myself. Holy.
I need to sit over here and do tech. That's all.
Alright. This is the basilisk lizard. So, what they do is that they have these long toes on their bottom of their feet. These extra long toes. And a little bit of webbing. Not a lot, but some webbing. And what they do is that when they run over the water, the hind foot penetrates the surface of the water, and it creates a little air-filled cavity. And then they have the reflexes to quickly pull the foot back up before the air bubble dissipates, basically allowing them to maintain some level of surface tension so they can actually run on the water. Now, they have to do this on their back legs, and they have to keep running, and they actually will have different performance based on how fast they run. So, yes, that is the basilisk lizard. Now, you may be thinking this is the craziest thing you ever heard. It was like, April Fool's was like 2 days ago. You probably think this is an April Fool's prank, right? Well, I have evidence. And this isn't AI. Trust me, you can tell because the video quality is kind of garbage. So we zoom in here. If you can see the video, I would highly, if you're not checking the YouTube for anything else, check it out for this video. So there's the lizard. All right. And then whee! Yep, there it is. It just ran over the water. Also, did you hear the audio? Because my computer might be...
Make sure you're not muted.
Oh, my computer's muted. The audio's not important. We basically just all freaked out. But yes. So, I'm going to go back. So you can see here him jumping on the water, and you can see he has to run on his back legs. So yes, the basilisk lizard can actually run on water. Also, since I have these images again, you can actually see the sexual dimorphism. The top 2 images are definitely males, one I took and one from Wikipedia. You can see they're called plumed basilisks, or green basilisks, but plumed basilisks because of their very pretty crests. And the bottom, I think this is a young male we saw in the video, that's the same lizard, but then this is a female right here. You can see way more drab, less of a crest. But yeah. So one more time, I just have to show this because this is so cool. But yeah, this is the plumed basilisk running on water, which is, I mean, that's just so cool. And the fact that I got it on video is crazy. I mean, that was, honestly, that might have been the highlight of the whole trip for me. Just seeing a plumed basilisk run on water was absolutely insane.
I wish that he had turned on the audio because you hear. Okay, I think it's you in the background.
Well, I can turn it on. I can turn it on.
Okay.
I can turn it on. Okay. Calm down. It's on. He moved. Okay.
So we have a nickname for this one. We call it the Jesus Christ Lisa because they get wrong.
So yeah, just.
Oh my gosh, a turtle!
He did. He's freaked out. That was crazy. Yeah, though, that was just so cool. I'm so happy I got this video. So yeah, I don't know if the audio was there, but I tried. Anyway, so yeah. Unfortunately, that is it. The podcast's over. That was the coolest thing ever. We can't do anymore. I can't follow that up. It's over. Never again. It's done. Obviously, I made this joke earlier and kind of ruined it, but I'm going to keep doing podcasts. And also, I went on a whole rant here. You can look at it if you like. It was kind of just a goofy rant. It's nothing important. But yeah, so overall, this was a great trip, especially this river tour specifically was awesome. And we still have, let's see, 4 more podcasts left planned on this trip at least. Mm-hmm. So please come back. Also, I have 1 already made, and hopefully I'll have 5 more LinkedIn posts coming, covering some extra animals from the trip that either I don't have figures of or I didn't get a good look at. So hopefully we can educate you more about certain animals. So yeah.
All right.
Hope you all enjoyed. See you next time.
See you next time.
Bye.